Previously, in the berserk of gluttony, Fate awakened the ability to eat the soul of everything he kills and steal their skill, so he decided to serve the only girl he cares about, Holy Knight Roxy. But other Holy Knights plotted behind the scenes to send Roxy to the Gallia town, which is basically a graveyard for every knight because it's a monster nest. So Fate followed Roxy secretly to keep her safe. Along the way, Fate discovered that his gluttony skill is one of the deadly sins that makes him hungry for soul. And he has to keep killing or else Fate could go insane from starvation. Then Fate eventually made it to the Babylon town. A town built in Gallia that has great walls like Attack on Titan to defend against monster invasion, but there he saw Roxy also arrived in the town. But after getting away from her, Fate realized this city is practically a lawless city where anyone can do whatever they want as long as they are strong. And the amount for a room and food were ridiculously high in this town. Their greeds got stuck on a scabbard on display. Greed felt he saw his soul mate and told Fate to buy it for him. There suddenly the shop owner comes out and starts sniffing around Fate. He realized Fate got his cloths torn and burr from pretty high level monsters. So Fate showed him greed and asked him to make a scabbard for him, but the price was a total rip-off of 500. How can Fate pay that when he doesn't have living expenses? So he thought of earning from monster hunting, but some other warriors tried to form a party with Fate, but he rejected their offer, so Fate went a bit away from town to get some monsters. But Greed sensed a monster pack and guided Fate to the monsters, but there, people from earlier took the start first and Fate lost a bunch. Then Fate saw those punks were surrounded by monsters. So Fate steps in to protect them from a surprise attack. Fate tries out Greed's new form, Absolute Shield, and with it, he transforms into a carbon copy of Rhino or Juggernaut from Spider-Man, destroying everything in his path. So Fate got a hefty loot this time around, so he got the guild for an exchange, but those punk he saved accused Fate of stealing their prey. They tried to take his loot by force, so Fate beats the crap out of them. There Roxy and the other Holy Knight came in, so he explained everything to Roxy that it was self-defense. So she overlooked this for this time and forgave even those punks, but Fate still hides his name and introduces himself as Corpse to Roxy, so Roxy didn't try to learn his real name. But she did tell Fate that he looks ridiculous in a more polite manner, and Fate was so embarrassed that he had to flee from there, but on the way that same old shop owner ran into him. The news of Fate beating those punks went viral too quickly, so Fate invited him to look through his work. His name is Jade, and he offered Fate to wear his handmade gear because Fate is the hot topic and could be a good advertising material. Fate can't refuse this offer with many nice benefits. And the gear Jade picks out suits Fate like sugar, but Jade asks for 80 gold coins for the set. Fate seriously thought the clothes would be free, so Jade cuts the price to half. So Fate bought a new suit for himself, and outside he saw many perverts gathered around a tavern. It was quite obvious they were drawling around a beauty. And even Fate wasn't able to look away even for a second from that girl, which gave him a hunch that this woman is also a bearer of a deadly sin skill. She took the initiative and invited Fate inside. She even knew Fate's name, so she introduced herself as Eris, as Sin of Lust. She tells Fate she had her eyes on him from the beginning. Eris know everything, even about mine, but what she doesn't know is who moved the Chimera, and on top of that, there's still other Chimera left. And given the power of Holy Knight they are no match for it, so the point she was getting at is, she's guardian of a kingdom, so she was trying to make a bright future for her kingdom. And that's why she wants to kill Roxy. It was a blasphemy for Fate to even hear that crap, so Eris explains that when a monster died, its anger remained in this world for many years, building up its hatred and birthing a crown monster, and the same thing goes with the human. In simple terms, the Holy Knight are torturing commoners. But among the Holy Knight only Roxy is a kind knight, so if she died, she could gather all that hatred to give birth to powerful being. Even so, Fate would never accept Roxy's death. But Eris had already planned everything to kill Roxy. And now Roxy heard a material gathering group went missing and ordered a search party for them, and at the same time Jade told Fate to search for a duskstone so he could make a scabbard for his sword. So while Fate was on the search, the monsters were getting in his way, and just a few miles away Roxy was with the search party and they had lost their directions. So Roxy got the idea that they could get to Gallia by feeling the concentration of orcs, so they went on their way, and as night fell, Fate took a little break and awoke in a space and saw the same girl he had seen in the Chimera he had killed. She told him something but he couldn't hear her words. And suddenly the surroundings changed into a bloody sea where he saw the peoples he had killed. A really disgusting dream he had, but it surely felt real. But now he felt the company of monsters. There were many salamanders, but even after attacking them, They were moving out somewhere in a group, so Fate realized they must be under mind control or something. So Fate decided to follow them, and those lizards got near Holy Knight's camp. Those lizards were hard to handle and Roxy got into a tight spot, so Fate jumps in to protect her. He killed those lizards on his own. Fate noticed there was one thing common in all lizards, which could very well a mind-controlling magic mark, but for now. Roxy leads Fate to the Great Canyon and they part ways there. Fate comes down and sees many of the petrified monsters, but moving a bit further he sees Eris. She vanishes instantly from there and Fate sees a chimera. It didn't have a host, so no danger was there from it, but there were many other chimera which were freed already, and Fate saw those other chimera attacked Roxy and her party. It was obvious that Eris did this. Fate quickly informs Roxy of the core and moves in. The chimera was trying to protect its core, but Fate cuts out its leg to give Roxy an opening for an attack. They used this strategy on the second one as well, but the third chimera broke the ground and Roxy and Fate were falling underground. So Fate pulls Roxy closer to him to take all the damage from falling. So when he opened his eyes his mask was gone and Roxy woke up, but thankfully that mask was just near him that he quickly wore. It was a close call, so after Fate told her about the chimera history and how they were created, Roxy was curious as to how Corpse got this info, so he told her Thatby knew a girl from Gallia. Roxy instantly recognized it as the girl she saw with the giant axe, and she also heard that Mine was traveling with someone, so Corpse couldn't say any more lie to Roxy. And admits he's the traveler, but suddenly Fate goes into his half-starvation mode and flees from Roxy. There, the chimera finds him, but Fate goes completely berserk on it. It had the same magical mark that indicates someone is targeting Roxy, and it should be none other than Eris. There Roxy comes out to check up, but Fate's fight broke the ceiling. It dropped the duskstone he was looking for. After that both of them safely gets out from the underground, but there was another threat approaching. But there the episode ends, so if you want to watch more of this anime then tell me down in the comments section. Till then, take care.